As the federal government collapses all around us, many people are confused as far as what to do next. And one of the many solutions I've seen proposed really throughout North America is the idea of secession. We hear of places like Texas, like California, like Alaska, discussing the idea of leaving the United States and just kind of doing their own thing. Well, a slightly less prominent but equally important secession movement is the Greater Idaho movement. And if you haven't heard, the Greater Idaho movement essentially consists of the eastern half of the state of Oregon, sometimes even including the southwestern part of Oregon as well, wanting to secede from the state of Oregon to join Idaho. And the reasons for this are the typical cultural political clash. Eastern Oregon tends to be rural and conservative, while western, or should I say northwestern Oregon, is very progressive, very liberal. And the folks in Eastern Oregon just don't feel like they're being represented in their state government. So a lot of folks from that part of Oregon said, well, look, we've got a conservative state, Idaho, right next to us. Why don't we leave Oregon and join Idaho? Well, I came across a story today that should be of great concern for the Greater Idaho movement, because in Idaho, there is big trouble brewing. In May of 2024, the state government of Idaho told farmers on about 500,000 acres of prime farmland that beginning in June, they just cannot water their crops anymore. And those farmers in Idaho were quite frankly pissed off about this because, as they state, if they can't water their crops, all those crops will wither and die. There won't be a harvest, there won't be a yield to sell, there will be nothing to tax, and even worse, the farmers will probably go broke and lose their land. So in other words, everybody suffers. Now, whether or not there's a water crisis there or this is just a huge land grab, I don't know. I don't live there. But for the folks in Oregon who want to join Idaho, you need to pay attention to this story because there is serious issues developing in that state. And for those folks in the Oregon secessionist movement, I'd actually recommend changing your strategy just a little bit. I agree that it's time to move on from your liberal and progressive brethren on the northwestern side of Oregon. I disagree, though, about the idea of joining Idaho. Idaho's got problems of its own, and at this point, it feels like you'd be trading one set of problems for another. Instead of trading Oregon problems for Idaho problems, do your own thing. Form your own state. Form the state of Jefferson. Form a state that truly represents who you are. The state of Jefferson could be exactly what you're looking for because it would be you who are in charge of the entire operation. If you want a low-tax state with modest services that does not intrude upon your private lives, doing it yourself is probably the best option. And if you're going to take the time to secede, if you're going to go through the trouble of breaking away from liberal and progressive Oregon, why not go all the way? Why not form your own state, the state of Jefferson? Now, of course, it would be up to each county whether or not they want to do this and join the state of Jefferson. But the good news is you've already got a lot of infrastructure in place. Your county system is already set. Your voting precincts are already set. You've got a cohesive political culture that's moving in the same direction. So a lot of the legwork has already been done for you. And quite frankly, to join Idaho or form your own state, you're going to have to jump through the same hoops and over the same hurdles. So if you're going through the effort, you might as well do it for a purpose. You might as well do it to be in charge of your own destiny. And that's why I would recommend the folks in Oregon form their own state government. Because at this point, it seems like you'd be trading one overly intrusive government for another, at least if you try and join the state of Idaho. In my estimation, forming your own state, the state of Jefferson, is the far superior strategy. If you'd like to know more, I've actually discussed this idea in great detail in my book, The New Way. The New Way is available on Amazon.com in paperback form for a very modest price. But if you're hurting financially, I also offer the ability to read The New Way for free in its ebook form. And I'll put links below for both of those options. But for the folks in Oregon, I strongly suggest you take a look at what's going on in Idaho right now with water rights. I want you to take a good, hard look at how the state government of Idaho is treating its people. Because to me, at least, it sure seems like if you were to join Idaho, you'd be trading one set of problems for another. This is Kevin from the ALP saying God bless each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.